Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, and this show begins now. See, I did the dab and not the 6'7", and you thought 6'7" was old. You got to keep the younger viewers watching. Anyways, on today's show, I know I keep saying we do a daily show, but the other person in the community that does anything other daily video content, we're going to have him on today's show again. I believe he's come on twice this year. For the third time this year, we're going to have on Jacob Macdonald of Anything Lax. A lot of you from TikTok know him. Hello, TikTokians. But we're going to have him. He picked the Toronto Rock and chose the Rock as his favorite team, and wouldn't you know it, now he has to stay with them. We're talking about the Rock winning, the Thunderbirds' future because he's around the Halifax area, and the summer plans for Anything Lax. Then I'll give you my final NLL season power rankings. We know Toronto Rock will be number 1. Spoiler alert. But who's 2 through 14? Let's talk about it. Then we'll do our what's next thing for Buffalo Bandits and the Colorado Mammoth. How can those prestigious franchises make it back to the NLL Finals as soon as next season, possibly? Before we get started, this show is presented by the Event Tickets tab at natalkradio.com. Head over to that website and check it out and click the Event Tickets tab. If you're on mobile, click the 3-menu bar thing in the top left. Doing so takes you straight to the Vivid Seats platform. You can search your favorite hockey team, your favorite local venue, whatever's going on. If you want to get there, use this and thank us later. And obviously, we'll thank you because that would obviously do wonders for us. Wow, we're desperate. Comments before we get him. Oh, look who's back. CLL. There you go. All right, now let's bring in a man who keeps on pumping out content, whether you like it or not. That's mean, but it's Jacob Macdonald from Anything Lax.
It's 1,000% true, buddy. I'm going to keep coming if you like me or not. You hate.
Wow.
You're a hater. You're just a fan in disguise, right?
What a lie. I'm going to keep coming whether you like it or not. Shame on you, sir. No, unbelievable. On TikTok, you were Anything Lax. I didn't realize they use the lowercase just like Instagram. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Hate that stuff. Anyways, how you been? How was your weekend? Pretty good, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't complain. Lots of good lacrosse, box lacrosse, field lacrosse. A lot. Everything's coming to an end. PLL just starting up. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
I know you chose the Rock as your favorite team. It actually shocked me because I thought you were going to go with the Birds. I know you're a Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not a hockey fan. Don't worry about that. Yeah. But I know you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. But I was like, he's going to pick the Birds, and you didn't. But to have both those teams clash, you had to have been a tiny bit conflicted. No.
I mean, I still love Halifax. I am a fan of theirs as well, right? Right. I originally made the original part was supposed to be when they played in the season. I was going to decide, and then I thought of this playoff idea. I thought this would be a more fun idea. I thought I might have got a few more seasons out of it though. But I did want to pick someone good, but I'm not a big favorites guy. I kind of like the underdogs. So I was like, Toronto's got that. They got a potential to win. I think they're the best team when everything's firing. Obviously, not every game, everything was firing. But to me, when I looked at it, I was like, they have the recipe to win. So that's why I was like, I'm going to rock with Toronto this year. And here I am. And now I'm a Rock fan for life.
It is funny. You thought you had some easy content there. Crap. That's a good idea. Yeah. So when you picked them before the playoffs, was it more for the content, or did you feel did you predict them? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah. So basically, I definitely I grew up in Hamilton, Ontario, which is where they play, right? So I have a connection there for that. I've been to a game this year in Hamilton. I went down and seen a game. It was great against the Bandits. They lost, unfortunately, but it was such a great game. Lots of Bandits fans. One of the most filled games of the whole year for them. The atmosphere is great, and yeah, so I honestly, if it came down to really, it would have been between Halifax and Toronto really anyway. So So like it was kind of down those two anyway, realistically, when I'm looking at teams. And I just think Toronto has such a bright future. And when they have the veteran aspect, they got Nick Rose, which I think is a top goalie, like top 3 goalie possibly. And then it depends on what night he plays. But and then they got their defense. Brad Kree's such a great defenseman. Like I think he should have been defenseman of the year personally. But I think they just have the recipe and the sauce, and I think they're going to be good for a little while as well.
Before we get to the championship part of it as well again, yeah, I believe it was yesterday we had on Pat Gregoire, and he talked about like the older, hungry guys with the rookies, and I call it the old guys have shiny new toys to kind of work with good. And he talked about the energy in the locker room. Do you think, like in sports, when a team wins a championship, is this the way to do it now? Do you think there's a scenario where every NLL team should start doing the veterans and bringing a bunch of new toys if they can?
I think the way you have to, right? And you see other teams already doing that. Like Halifax is doing that. They have their older veterans. They've got Clark Peterson that's in his quote unquote prime, and then they have a couple young guys coming up in a good draft pick. So there's other teams that have the same blueprint that is good. In my opinion, will win the championship in the next few years. And then you're going to have teams like Buffalo that when I look at it, it's like Buffalo. They had their run and they still got Dane and Josh, and they're still going to be competitive. But when you look at it, and they might play for another 7 years, who knows, right? But when you look at it, you really it's the secondary scoring that really separates the teams between teams that are going to do good in the regular season and get to the playoffs, and the teams that are actually going to go win the championship.
Speaking of championships, Toronto Rock did come through.
Yeah,
and it felt like even though me and you were kind of new to Dilly watching this thing, we can feel like it was building, like they had to break through. And when they did, it was full steam ahead. What was your take on how easy, lightly used, the championship was, and just on the playoff run that they had? What was your just overall analysis of it all?
I mean, I think Toronto just played when they needed to. Like, you've seen that game against San Diego, they didn't really show up. Other than that one game, though, they had a flawless offseason, and it's hard. They just played the best lacrosse at the best time. And even like, as much as I say they are the best team in the league, when you look at it on paper, really it's Vancouver or Colorado, right? Like when you actually get into game time, it's like it didn't happen that way.
Now, did you agree with me that the final, once those Vancouver and Buffalo juggernauts were eliminated, I had a take where it was like all of them loved the transition. They had the great goaltending. Toronto's offense seemed like it could hit another gear on a given night. Did you feel that way of the final 4 teams?
Yeah, I think Bushi really stepped up in the playoff. Like really, really, really stepped up. You said CJ Kirst that really, really drove that team. Like when they were down and out, or when they looked like they were kind of starting to like falter, CJ Kirst went out there. And then you had Mark Matthews, which is he's such a veteran presence, and he's so good. And when you need him to go there and be good, he is. So I just think they had every piece, and every piece actually performed, right?
It's wild that Mark Matthews is almost like I don't want to say forgotten, but like an underrated part. When he's an underrated part of your offense, that's only great things, in my opinion.
But he's like a magnet for defenders too, because you can't leave him alone, right? So it opens up space for other guys. So we'll see if he's back next year, and we'll go from there.
Right. Yeah, I was just saying, like, the shoulder thing. I wonder how he's had so many different things, but it would be nice for another run back with him. Neil Doddridge, Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, I believe. So people keep saying playoffs MVP. It's a finals MVP. And it was finals MVP, Sam English. I couldn't really argue what he did. Like, I would have preferred CJ because of the game 1 moment. What was your take on the finals MVP being Sam English? I didn't mind it.
I just wonder how much it's weighted by what other awards you won out throughout the season, because Sam English was a little bit somewhat snubbed with Rookie of the Year. So maybe that's where they kind of, because it was like you could have given it to CJ and it would have been like, well deserved, or you could have given it to English as well. So I think that really it's kind of like you're splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah, Captain said there was like 5 guys. Like, if you give it to okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Speaks to Jamie Dowlick, Mr. Wheeler and Dealer himself, though. Oh my gosh. This was your first, I know you latched on last, but this was your first, entire front to back season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was for the full season. I watched it this season.
How are we feeling?
I love it, man. I mean, I wish there was more of it,
Locked
right?
in.
Like that's I'm glad there's summer ball, but I'm
Yeah.
excited for like to get to the Man Cup. But I mean, the NLL is the cream of the crop, right? Like you look at the MSL and the WLA, and nothing against them, but there's a couple teams that really dominate, and the rest of the teams, like if you look at the rosters, it's just it falls off. So it's going to be exciting lacrosse to watch when you see a couple teams go against each other, or as you get into the playoffs, or especially in that Man Cup. But
Yeah.
and Jake Henhawk said this to me. He's like, the Man Cup is the best lacrosse around, and I have to agree with him after watching it and stuff. But then you have but the NLL is the cream of the crop. Every game after game is great, and you've seen that this year. And I find even in the PLL, what I've seen already this year is it seems like the PLL and the NLL are both have very good parity in their league. Because right now the PLL, all the teams are 1-1.
That's interesting for the parody because I know I believe it was Dan Craig went on this radio guy show. I believe let me get to it. It was John Moore, some radio guy up there in Toronto area. And Dan was saying, we're like an 8 seed and a 6 seed. Like anyone could have won it in the playoffs. Yeah. And then I think, and also like people talk a lot about summer ball, and rightfully so because of those trophies. But just seeing when guys win an NLL championship, it just looks different. Like they want that one no matter what the trophy looks like because they know every team has great players on it. And I think to your point, like NLL just is the cream of the crop for sure.
Yeah. And that's what we want. We want the NLL to be the cream of the crop. I do think that the Man Cup, I think it's special to win, and I know the Minto as well. Like
right.
And a lot of people will say the Minto is actually the hardest championship to win because you have such a small window to win it, and there's so many other teams around. So I'd probably have to say those two. But like the NLL championship's so special. I think any time that you can win a championship like this, and with the NLL, I would say it's a little bit harder in the sense that you can't create these super teams.
Especially with the new CBA stuff
hitting
hard pretty soon. Let's talk about the Halifax part of it because, of course, you were in the area and you're in, like the Swarm for me are like Thunderbirds for you. Like we're rooting for them all the time. What a season! What a turnaround! Like if you had told me in week 10, oh, the Rush are going to fall flat on their face, Thunderbirds will make it, I would have said, shoot me. Like what are we talking about here? How'd you feel, man? Talk about the roller coaster.
Yeah, so I honestly thought like halfway through the season, like at the beginning of the season, I thought they were going to go 14-4. That's what I called out. And I mean, if they would have won those 6 1-goal game losses, they would be 14-4 walking into the playoffs, and they went to the finals. My thing was I called for a rebuild because they like Cody Jamieson and Randy Stotts with the injuries and stuff like that. It just seems like how much longer can they get? They're getting up there. Now I've been told that they're both going to play for another 8 years by somebody close, like a close source. I think that's a little bit of stretch, but I could see them getting like Red or Randy. I could still see maybe 6 years. So if that's the case, if they're going to still be around there, and they're still going to be at like a pretty high level, like a 4-point per game level. I think Halifax with Clark Peterson and the rookies and the young guys they're going to bring up, I don't think Halifax is going anywhere. And I do think that for the betterment of the growth of the game, I think it would have been better if Halifax actually won the game, like won the championship.
I don't mind that because like the Rock already established. It is good they had the home finals game.
Yeah,
but it would have been nice if they, had at least won game 2. How's that? But now as for Randy Stotts, he's the interesting one because this is a take no one's really talked about that me and you probably should. Randy didn't play game 1.
Yep.
And they blew a 9-4 lead.
Yep.
One has to wonder if he was there for that game, would they have gotten more than just the Cody Jamieson goals? That might have helped.
I mean, it's again, he's kind of like the same thing as Matthews. He's a magnet, right? So even when he's not scoring, he's getting the defenders to stay off the other players.
Yeah.
So it's it just kind of goes with injury. It shows his heart by getting in there and playing because you obviously know he's not playing at 100%. But that's the thing. If he can get back, if he can take the summer, get back and get into 100%, then we're going to be looking at that championship run again next year in Halifax, I think too.
It's like, Randy, I know the Man Cup is awesome, but my God, take an off season for yourself, man.
Yeah, he needs to take a break. I think so too. But I think that when you love something, he's getting out there and he's doing something he loves. And the thing about these native guys too is they don't just play for themselves; they play for the creator and they play for the elders, right? So they're like trying to entertain the elders and playing for the creator. So that's they take it. It's a little bit more like almost spiritual than a regular sport or regular player.
And to be fair, like across sports, like even though that's a great point by you, if you're not, guys will never play the game if they don't love it still. You have to love it. So great point. You touched on summer a lot. Obviously, it is a good thing for us to get into because obviously I like to take the off-season break.
Yep.
But are you doing 365 days of content?
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell
so
me.
I made a deal with myself. I think I started around the 18th of August. This like in 2025. I said I would do a year of content posting every day for a year, and at least one video a day, and I've stuck to that. And so at that point in August, like we'll see, but I think I'm just going to keep going, man. It's not that I don't feel like I have to drag myself to do at least one piece of content a day. And there's always something to talk about. And I find even like I've got a lot of history that I can go through and stuff. So I've got no shortage of content.
Graham Perro, the stats website, ideas upon ideas there. I love it.
Yeah.
Again, on TikTok, anything lacks. Jake, I'm gonna call you Jacob because I feel like there's already a couple of Jakes now, especially on one podcast. Let's do Jacob or anything lacks. That works too. Yeah. But I do appreciate you. It is more voices equal more coverage equal more money for all of us. So keep on crushing it. Instagram too, by the way.
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, all over the place. Anything lacks or the Anything Lacks show. And
what's the next episode?
I'll be dropping a field lacrosse podcast today, going over Lacrosse Canada stuff, going over the minutes from April, which is really interesting if anybody wants to dig into that. And then I'll also be doing one later this week for box and just going over the finals and anything going on in summer ball, all the junior leagues, all that kind of stuff.
Love that. Thank you again for your time today, by the way. Have a good
one. No worries, man. Anytime.
Yes, sir. We need more content, and that guy agrees. Just check out his page and you'll see what I mean. But we appreciate him for taking time out of his day. Interesting indeed. That is true, though. Jacob and Captain have the exact same rock jersey. That's awesome. It's hard to find the jerseys. So I'm still not happy that this here website does not have the championship. Like I seem like a swing and a miss. I'm just saying. But hey, we come back. We have to do a final power rankings. Now, I will explain the criteria on the other side, but thank you for watching and stay tuned for what's next. Buffalo and Colorado fans are going to want to hear this. You're watching Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. We appreciate you all for tuning in. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. In case you are caught up in the NLL news, it's 1:20 already here on the East Coast and 2:20 Halifax time. Again, thank you all for watching live. If you're watching the replay, just skip through this part. Don't do that. Reminder, the event tickets tab at natalkradio.com is very awesome. You're going to go there. Concerts, man, like what do you want to do in your area? The tickets are going to be found there. So we appreciate your support. Neil Doddridge says, push the schedule. May to September. I feel like we're going to have a summer conversation. Oh my, don't fire up CLL in the chat, please. My goodness. All right. Now it's time to lock in to my power rankings. The final one of the season. No graphics, shoot me, all right? The criteria for me is number 1 will obviously be the Toronto Rock. 2 through 8 will be my reseeding of the playoff teams. And then 9 through 14 will be my power rankings of the season, all right? So we're going to do this one more time and see just where I feel like the best teams were all season, all right? Number 1 for me, wow, the Toronto Rock. Jeez, we're not doing this. The Rock won the championship fair and square. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know some people claim they're not doing this. There were some courteous Buffalo Bandits fans. I know you guys won 3 in a row. I know you went through the Rock a million times. You found new ways to make the Toronto Rock your you-know-whats. That doesn't matter. The Rock smacked the league around this year. Deserving champions. They were awesome. Number 2 for me is actually Halifax. I do think Halifax was a worthy opponent. I think game 1 was theater. I think game 2 could have been better in the second half, but for the first half, it was also really good. Halifax showed they were worthy. I'm not going to take anything away from them, so we're going chalk so far. Number 3 for me, the Georgia Swarm. I do not believe Georgia would have won game 3 at home. I think Halifax whooped their butts, but you got to wonder, if it was in Duluth, how would it have gone for Georgia? I'm not sure. I know what I believe, but I think Georgia earned the right. Dobson was historically awesome. Their team was really good. The Michael Grace injury seemed to be a dagger, but man, were they cooking. Number 4 for me, I'll give it to Vancouver, actually. In hindsight, Vancouver lost to Halifax, and I agree with Captain that Halifax would have won 2 out of 3 if we played it that way. It's still single game elimination. Vancouver had them up 7-1. So I am not opposed to Vancouver being up there as a top 4 team this year, even though they could not make it through. Number 5 for me, the Buffalo Bandits. Again, they also lost a single game elimination, albeit to Georgia, but Georgia had Michael Grace from a lot of the first half of that game, and then he went down. Buffalo just felt like they ran into a buzzsaw, but Buffalo Bandits were hot towards the end of the year, and I think that matters. They have a championship pedigree. I'll give them a bit of the doubt. Number 5. Number 6 for me is San Diego. San Diego had the injury to Origlieri. I don't think they beat Toronto even with O'Rick. Now, to their credit, they can argue, well, maybe we would have. That is up to them, and I think they deserve the right to say that. But San Diego's offense was never that good. Even Georgia got hot. San Diego was one of those teams where you're like, why? Is it only because the lefties are inconsistent? Like, what happened to them? They need a lot of retooling. Number 7, Colorado. I just feel like the top 6 were better. I feel like Colorado, yeah, they lost by a phantom call. But I'm like, man, San Diego this season just had their number. And I think that Colorado would have fallen if they had beaten San Diego. But I don't think they're getting through Toronto or any of them. I don't think they're doing it. So that's my thing. Looking at the schedule here, San Diego or Colorado might have had to play Toronto, or I think they would have had to play Toronto. So it's like, I don't think they're getting through Toronto. Looking back, I think Mammoth number 7. Number 8 for me is the Rush. Oh my God, I still cannot get over in my head why in week 10 of the season. Is it week 10? What week was it? In week 13, the Rush were 10-1. Since then, it was so disappointing, and I don't know the reason why. There was not a major injury. There was not some sudden change. I'm so disappointed in the Rush, and they're my 8th team. Ottawa 9, Vegas 10, Calgary, Rochester, Oshawa, Philadelphia. Shout out to Calgary for getting that far, but there you go. Final power rankings. I will post these later for you to weep over, but again, Toronto 1, Halifax, the deserving number 2, the Georgia Swarm at number 3, 4th place, Vancouver, Buffalo 5, San Diego, Colorado, Saskatchewan were my top 8 in the end. All right. Coming up next, let's talk about what's next for the Colorado Mammoth. How good can they be next season? And what has to happen for them to reach the ceiling of winning the finals? Don't go anywhere. You're watching Daily Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Get NLL merchandise today at natalkradio.us/NLL. Unboxed logos, 40th anniversary, even though we don't know what that is. I'm kidding. And of course, the player shirts and team logos. United States residents can shop and support their team today. If you're from Canada, you can go to that website, can't get NLL, but you can search other places on Amazon, and it can help out the show. Thank you for your support. If you head to Panther City Lax on Twitter right now, this is their header. What's next? Ironically, Panther City's now folded for those that don't know. But we've been using that for our how can this team make the playoffs or the finals next year. And let's now get to Colorado. We know that the season ended in absolute heartbreak for the Colorado Mammoth. I know that Cole gives a lot of Mammoth fans pause for, is this league really legitimate? And if they had lost, if they had won that game, then could they win it? The answer is no. They would have lost the Toronto Rock in the 3-game series. I'm fully confident of that. But you have to wonder, what if? All right? This season, the Mammoth finished 12-6, 7-2 at home for those Denver fans out there. Andrew Q, 45 goals despite missing 6 games. Jack Hanna, 85 points despite missing 3 games due to home disputes, but finally got to your team. You unloaded Connor Kelly and sent him to here, where he's in exile, I guess. Probably never even made to Georgia for crying in the sink. Again, the turning on the wall. What you get? I love that term. But, like, how can the Mammoth win the finals next year? I've got 2 things here, and the first one is just, like, seems like a layup, but it has to be said. Health. And I'm going to be honest, folks, I don't know what goes on. I don't know if it's luck of the draw or what. Are the Colorado Mammoth in the last few years the most injury unlucky team. Like Ryan Lee or even like injuries, what about availability? Like Zed Williams, Eli McLaughlin, or Jack Hanna missing 3 games, Andrew Q this year, Exhibit A. Like, it just feels like someone is always missing on their offense. And I feel like it hurts them. Like, we don't know how good their offense can be yet. So health obviously matters. That being said, I have something on the field that I think can help them. A really awesome defender. They've got Robert Hope, who is a really awesome defender. They got a couple of guys over there. But I want them to trade for, draft, or sign another guy who's just going to be in your face. Because sometimes Dylan Ward is letting in like 5 in a row and gets benched for Whittam. I'm like, what? I don't think it's mainly Dylan Ward's fault. I also think that they got in too many shootouts. Their offense and their goalie should not be like Vegas. Like, they should be winning games comfortably, and sometimes they don't. A great defensive player, or at least a very good one, will help them. Also, I got to see more transition. I do think the defender they bring in, I do want to see them run more, because they're one of the teams where it's like they're good on 2 ends, but in between the game, I never felt like Colorado was up there with Halifax, Georgia, Buffalo, Saskatchewan, Toronto, in terms of like just getting back and scoring. I think it's valuable to have guys like that, so we'll see what they can do. But Colorado, as storied as their franchise is still not the Buffalo Bandits. When we come back for the final segment on today's show, I'm going to tell you what I think has to happen for Buffalo to win the finals next year. Is it as simple as something that we're all thinking? We'll talk about that and more. You're watching Dilly Dive. Don't go anywhere. One more thing to do here.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
One more segment here on Dilly Dive. It'll be what's next for Buffalo. So far on today's show, we talked to Jacob Macdonald of Anything Lacks, as he was talking about his Toronto Rock and how the Thunderbirds were able to make it there and what's next for both teams. We also talked about his summer plans, which will include a lot of coverage of summer lacrosse. We then got to my final season power rankings, the top 8. Again, Toronto 1, Halifax a deserving number 2, Georgia number 3, Vancouver in 4th, 5th Buffalo, San Diego, and Colorado and Saskatchewan bringing up the rear. And of course, the rest, we'll post that on the socials a little bit later today. We then talked about what was next for the Colorado Mammoth. I do believe health is a major concern for them. I also want to see a good defender to shore up their back end and just more transition. Like, get running. Like, I don't like the both ends thing. Like, we got to get going Got to get guys on quicker. I think that'll help them a lot next year. Easier said than done, though. Final segment today. What's next for the Buffalo Bandits? Buffalo Bandits fans, it was tough. There was a lot of you that came to Duluth, including B. Gore. That was so cool. After interviewing her, I got to see her down, like sitting very close to where I was. That was cool. But Bandits fans, what happened this year? Well, Matt Vince, it feels like might retire. I know he's letting the things happen. He's probably still making his decision. He's letting Toronto have their thing. But it feels like Matt Vince is going to retire. If he doesn't, oh my God, full steam ahead. But it feels like we're getting to that point. And I believe new goalie is obviously primary. Like, that's number one thing. That is your goal, is to find out whether it's a goalie in your system, probably not, or a guy that you can bring in that no one can see coming. I would not be surprised if Buffalo brings in an all-star level player next season at goalie. Another thing they should do, you need more youth on offense and defense. I want a young stud on offense. I want a young stud on defense. We don't know if Matt Vince retires, does that bring the domino effect of Steve Priolo and others? Or Paul Dawson, for crying out loud. There are some major pieces that could be gone for Buffalo. But I still think when you have Mitch DeSnew, you have Joe Rez, you have Dane, you have Josh, DeHoga, Ian McKay, there are guys there that can still make you a very good competitive team. They're going to make the playoffs next year, it feels like, again. But if you cannot address the goalie or bring in a little bit of youth, like I said with Toronto, give the guy some toys to play with, all right? Bring in some energy, because it feels like the end of an era or an end of at least one chapter of the legacy is closing. Flip over to that next page and dial the right buttons up. I think they can. I think they will. But those things obviously have to happen. The spring chickens don't stay young forever. I feel like DeSnew comes back. I feel like both those guys come back. DeSnew maybe could leave, but I feel like, man, you could, if I'm in a room, I know, where they live, I get it. If I'm in a room with those two, with those guys individually, Joe Rez, you're a luxury or offense. You've already been the guy stockpiling points. If he wants a championship, help our offense and be the guy that can score a clutch goal. For Mitch DeSnew, I would bring up the record of when he was on the floor and when he didn't finish games. It is bonkers how good he was for them. So if I'm like, I don't mind those guys being UFAs, and I could easily see them both coming back. Mitch DeSnew again, maybe somebody else convinces him, but it feels like he could be a very big piece of their defense, and I feel like they should really sell him on that. Like, hey, you are our guy, because again, Paul Dawson, Steve Priolo, and Matt Vince, maybe others could all be on the way out, and you could be our guy, and you would be a great guy to have. But man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I think Buffalo, I'm saying it right now. I think Buffalo is one of the 8 playoff teams next year. I just don't know how they get there. But I do feel like it's going to be a little bit of panic mode for a month or so. But I think Buffalo will be just fine. I really do. Since pre-COVID, wow. Yeah, of course. Like I said, with the offense, just some young studs, man. Like, just give me some young Broncos out there. You know what I'm saying? Some young stags. I don't even know if I'm using the correct horse terminology. Anyways, appreciate all of you watching today's show, whether it be live viewers in the comments or the replay viewers. Or, of course, if you follow us on social media, daily.lex, we thank you for that, watching the real stuff. By the way, if you're there as well, there's a link that looks like this in the bio, dailydivelacks.creator-spring.com, or of course, like I said, link in the bio for our merchandise. All right, so tomorrow's show, I will be doing a top 10 forwards in the National Lacrosse League. I also will do what's next for San Diego, Georgia, and then I'll do another segment in there as well. We appreciate you guys. This Friday, 2 days from now, will be our final show of the season, so we can get a full reset and be full steam ahead for season 5. But we're expecting a major show on Friday. We appreciate you guys. You can follow us along for updates and more. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, 1 o'clock Eastern, right here on North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel. Have a fun day. Have a safe day. I am your host, Michael Karvelis. This has been another episode of Daily Dive. Bye.